I think the history and the longevity of running as a fun and healthy activity in Ann Arbor has really contributed to the popularity we're seeing today.
Ann Arbor is famous for some world-class track events. For example, Jesse Owens in 1935 set 4 world records on the track at Ferry Field.
And this is the memorial plaque commemorating the feat that Jesse Owens, 4 records that he made in one day right here in Ferry Field.
The Ann Arbor Track Club was founded more than 50 years ago. It is a group of people who enjoy the camaraderie and fellowship of their fellow runners. It is a place to get healthy. It is a place to help you achieve your running goals.
The Ann Arbor Track Club is an organization that promotes running at most levels. Around 1968, we had an informal group known as the Ann Arbor Track Club. It was made up of all elite athletes. We decided to have fun runs at the track. We hosted Tuesday night fun runs where we gave people a chance to explore what they could do in various events. When we started, I think we were the first community-based club, and it got to be really popular. We got to the point where by the end of the summer, we had 300 or so people running, and we just call them Elmo's Fun Runs. Women, men who had never run before would come out, kids that bring their family. Tonight at Ferry Field, as I look around, there are runners, and it's apparently a training night. I'm very happy to see the club continuing. It's really unique for a group to stay together in this common purpose for that long of a time.
And I think it was the same group of people that started the track club that then decided it might be a great idea to run 15 miles from Dexter to Ann Arbor.
A friend of mine, Dave Peel, he said we should have a long-distance event to commemorate the 150-year celebration of the Ann Arbor area. About 159 people were part of that first event, but it had a really good response. People wanted to continue doing and training.
It changed to a half marathon, I believe, in 1981. It has been on essentially the same course with just a few minor tweaks of where the start line is, where the finish line is, ever since that time. It's an absolutely beautiful event. I would argue that there are few races in the area that offer as much beauty as the Dexter-Ann Arbor run does.
Ann Arbor's, one, just a vibrant town, but also a town that at that point had a history of running. You know, they had the Dexter-Ann Arbor run, which was one of the biggest races in the state. And if you look at running back in the 70s and 80s, it was very different than it is today. And so you didn't have a list of 5Ks and 10Ks every weekend that you could choose to run from.
The mistake we made back then, since we didn't know there much, we were one of the first ones to start doing organizing like that, is that we started the race at 12 o'clock in the middle of the day. Can you imagine the sun? So it was clear that we shouldn't be doing that.
I participated in the second or third Dexter-Ann Arbor run. I remember wearing blue jean cutoffs, and I remember I didn't take any of the fluids. I just didn't know anything about road racing at that time.
I think we started the Dexter-Ann Arbor run. I don't think there were any other long runs in this area.
It wasn't infrequent that a race like Dexter-Ann Arbor would draw people from Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky, because there weren't as many.
And it is still going, and it's in its 50th year now. There's a comfortable level of the participants, around 5,000.
I think this community is very proud of the Dexter-Ann Arbor run. It certainly puts us on the map among the running community within the state and in the area. And I think it's always a celebration of the beauty of Ann Arbor and the beauty of the event. When I joined the track team at U of M in 1983, there hadn't been an organized, a formal women's track program for very long. You know, I look back now and I do see, you know, that it really was in the early stages of developing into a sport. But it got off to a great start because we had outstanding women that started that program. Very talented women who should have been on a college team, except there wasn't one. And they really kind of paved the way for developing a women's track and field program at the University of Michigan.
When you live in Ann Arbor, you get to see a lot of progressive things happen. So in Ann Arbor, when I was growing up, women's track got started by a man named Kenneth Red Simmons. He started a club called the Michigams, and he got the idea to start a club when he went to the Rome Olympics in 1960 and found out that there were very few women competing for the United States, and he came back with a mission and a goal to train women to run and compete in track and field. He succeeded with 3 or 4 women. Francie Crocker in particular went to 2 Olympics, 68 and 72. I joined the Michigams in 1966. I was 12 when I joined, and I ran for about 3 or 4 years. The women's clubs were pretty unusual at the time. We'd see the same women at all the track meets. In Michigan particularly, only 4 clubs, one in Detroit, one in Flint, one in Midland. And that was it. There wasn't really any others. Nothing compared to the men's programs that were ahead. The Michigams was very important for women and girls in Ann Arbor to participate in track and field because there were no other alternatives. There was no high school or junior high track and field, but there was nothing where girls could train for national championships or state championships or the Olympics. And that was what Mr. Simmons did, was he provided that opportunity. The Michigams continued through the 70s when Title IX was passed. Mr. Simmons became the first coach at the University of Michigan, the first girls track coach.
When I first moved here, there was just a running store, the Ann Arbor Track Club. So kind of just one main club. And now you look and there's just numerous clubs.
I moved here about 2 years ago, and I came from a city that really didn't have a good running scene. So coming here, it's really cool to see the amount of different running clubs you could join, and there's a flavor for every person.
I run with Running Ann Arbor, which is part of Ann Arbor Running Company.
I'm one of the founding members of Bandit Races.
I joined a running club in Ann Arbor called Ann Run. It's most of Chinese people.
My name is Erica Salway, and I run with the PR Run Club.
Yeah, I run with the Ann Arbor Tri Club.
Basically a member of Bad Decisions Track Club.
Ann Arbor Next Level, they're gracious to have me there and join their runs.
There's a lot of different running clubs. We have a few of them today out competing.
The thing that's probably the most special about the community in Ann Arbor, just how diverse it is. You have very serious runners, people trying out to make Olympic teams, actually running in the Olympics. And then you have your kind of everyday person that's just getting into 5Ks.
That definitely adds to the aura of Ann Arbor, is that this history of having some really talented elite runners. I mean, it's kind of cool if you're out, run on Argo Road and Nick Willis goes by you.
Running in Ann Arbor is really special. The running community is amazing, very diverse, very open-minded, and very welcoming. When I was still living in Spain, I didn't feel that way. So when I came here and I saw wonderful people, wonderful runners, I don't know, there was something in me telling me you just have to run.
Everywhere I go, I see groups of people running individually, and it's just part of their day.
So I think it's kind of infectious, the fact that like, oh, these people are out running, so maybe I should start running, or I know there's other running groups in towns.
This is like the running mecca of the Midwest, in my opinion. It has one of the highest concentrations of Boston Marathon qualifiers.
Yeah, Ann Arbor at one time, I know, had the most running stores of any town of its size in the country.
And I worked in a town twice as big as Ann Arbor that had one running store.
I love running Ann Arbor because the terrain, we get such a variety.
It's marvelous, very dynamic. It's got everything you need. It's got trail, it's got road, it's got hills, it's got track, all the vitamins and minerals, everything you want.
How many cities have an indoor track that they can train on? We had Eastern Michigan, and we have U of M's indoor tracks that we train on.
This is like one of the only places you can come to have like a track meet at this age.
Okay, perfect. Lane 1,
it's either like you stop in high school or you look someplace like this that has cool events.
I host a local podcast in Ann Arbor that's about running, and I moved to Ann Arbor thinking that I probably wouldn't be here for my whole life. I thought I'd be here for a couple years and leave. 7 years later, here I am, more in love with this place than I have ever been.